Hey everyone, so I'm going to be breaking this video into 3 parts because I had 3 separate fears when I was a child. One of which is slightly understandable. The other 2, not so much. Well, let's get into it. First things first, when I was a kid, my parents and I, we loved Shrek. Shrek was the go-to movie for us. I think I watched it maybe 9,854 times? Maybe 5, somewhere around that ballpark. I even had Shrek in my little stories when I was a child. Ah, yes. Nothing was going to damage my love for Shrek. Well, this was around the early 2000s, the era of Blockbuster. You know, it's this store where you can rent movies, take them home, give them a little bath, take them out for a nice dinner, and then you just bring them back. Well, my dad had to drop something off, and I decided to go with him. So I waited in the car while he went in, and there was this massive picture of just Shrek's face, just doing the little smile. You know the one. You know the one. You've seen it. Covering the window, like you could not even see inside the store. You just see Shrek and his smug little grin staring down at me with those beady eyes and those bushy eyebrows, and man, I lost it. I was wedged between the seat and the back of the chair in front of me. You can imagine the look of despair when my dad comes back and he sees me just crying in the corner of the car, and he's like, "What happened?" And I'm sniffling and sobbing, and I shakily point at the poster in front of the store. He's like, "Oh, that's our boy Shrek, what's wrong?" And I'm just, dude, there are tears streaming down my face, just shivering and shaking and crying. And he's like, "Oh my God." So he takes me home, and after that, that's it, it was done. I didn't want to look at Shrek, I didn't want to watch the movies anymore, I didn't want to know that Shrek existed. Heck, I was scared of the soundtrack. I didn't want to hear All-Star, I didn't want to hear I'm a Believer. The minute I'd hear anything from Shrek, I would cry. If I heard the word Shrek, I would cry. It became a bad word. And of course, you know, my parents, since we owned the movie, they had to hide the box, and whenever I would stumble upon it, I would just cry. If I even so much as heard my parents watching Shrek in the other room, like, "Oh, so scandalous, they're watching Shrek in the other room," I would cry. And this carried over to school, which caused more problems. Because, you know, we'd all be sitting around the table doing our little construction board projects and cutting stuff out, you know, making nice little flowers, and then just on the radio, just freaking "Now I'm a Believer" would come on, and man, I just screamed, ran into the hallway, just crying. And the teacher would run out after me and be like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" And I'd just be crying and screaming and saying I didn't want to hear, like, "Oh, it gives me bad memories." And my teacher would be like, alright, okay. This was also bad because whenever my entire class wanted to watch Shrek, I was the only one out, and I would scream and cry and throw a tantrum, and nobody was allowed to watch Shrek. We had to watch Finding Nemo. And I didn't care. I was like, "No, I'm scared of that bushy-eyed freak. No, to put it into perspective, I spent a good portion of my childhood afraid of Onion Man over here. A freaking Onion Man over here. Now, how did I get over this? Well, this was around 2006. This was when YouTube was still a fresh baby, and people were actually allowed to upload content with copyrighted music without being kicked out of the country and have to change their name, change their occupation, and overall just change their lifestyle because YouTube has just eradicated their will to live. Somebody had this video posted. It was just their camera pointed at the TV screen while they played The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning, which was the newest Spyro game at the time. And the first song that would come on in this tribute was All-Star. And I was like, "Oh no, man, this isn't even the Kids Bop version. This is the one from Shrek." So I lowered down the volume and I had to just sit and watch a silent Spyro video until the song ended and the next one would play. The thing is, I kept wanting to rewatch this video over and over again. So over time, I just was like, okay, you know what, just screw it. I'm just gonna let the song play. And surprisingly, I didn't die. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but the song didn't kill me. I was alive, I was well, I was breathing. And I was just kind of sitting there like, wow, this song is actually kind of nice. Why am I afraid of Shrek? So after that, I had some catching up to do. I completely missed Shrek 2, so I had to watch that. And then when Shrek 3 came out, I watched that. When Puss in Boots came out, I watched that. Still haven't gotten to Shrek Forever After, but I'll get around to that. I do like the Shrek movies, I'm gonna be honest. And I'm happy that I'm over my fear of Shrek and the song All-Star, because both of them are memes now. Yeah, can you just imagine how it would have been if I were still afraid of Shrek in this day and age, when Shrek is all over the place, you know, Shrek is love, Shrek is life, there would have been some serious problems. So, part 2. This is actually worse than the Shrek thing. I'm gonna be honest. Ladies and gentlemen, I was afraid of lint. Yeah, that's right. Lint. You know, tiny balled up pieces of string, dust bunnies, clumps of fabric. Yeah, mortified. So, with this one, I was taking a bath. This was around the same time frame as the Shrek thing. Hell, it might have even been the same year. It might have even been the same day. It was a traumatic day, let's be fair. I was in the bathtub, and this tiny little piece of lint, it just starts bobbing its way up and down on the waves coming towards me, and man, I screamed with the fury of an injured banshee. My mom rushes into the bathroom and she's like, what's going on? And I'm just screaming and pointing at this tiny little piece of lint. She's like, hey, come on, it's just lint, don't do this, come on, please, stop. Well, no, I didn't stop after that. Lint became a phobia of mine, a very classic one at that. The thing about my kindergarten class is that we all sat on this giant burly carpet. You know, the kind that attracts lint and dust bunnies and just balls of hair and stuff like that. And the best part is, well, you know, Sparks, you could just move, right? You just get out of the way. No. We had arranged seating on this big burly carpet that attracts lint. Yeah, So if there was a piece of lint next to my foot, a little too close for comfort, I just started crying. Yeah, that's all I knew what to do, just cry about everything. And this got pretty bad. My teacher would literally be in the middle of talking, in the middle of a lesson, and I'd just be inching away from this little ball of dust. Oh God, it's gonna kill me. This got to the point where we'd have these little classroom get-togethers where all the parents would come in and watch us read some poetry. I would get up in front of the classroom, read my little poem, sit back down on the carpet, realize there's a piece of lint next to me, and scream with the fury of Odin stubbing his toe against a rock. It was bad. And my teachers, we had like 4 teachers in kindergarten, and they would all be huddled around me at once like, what happened? What's wrong with her? There's lint. Oh, there's lint? Oh crap, holy damn, oh my God, call the ambulance. We have a code red. Holy shit, this girl's gonna die. Well, my dad was not very amused with this. I don't think any dad would be very proud of this. So he called me into the room one day and he's holding a piece of lint and I'm like, oh, no. He's like, hey, wait. I'm about to show you something that's gonna blow your mind, kid. He unravels the piece of lint and shows me that it's actually just a piece of string balled up, and he gives me the string. And I hold the string in my hand and I'm like, holy crap, it's a piece of string. And he's like, yeah, pretty cool, right? Well, watch this. He takes the string back and he balls it up and he gives it back to me. I'm like, whoa, no, you stay away from me. I know what you're doing. You keep that away from me. That night, I went into my room, laid in my bed, I just stayed up, just thinking, why are we here? What is our purpose? How did we get here? Are we alone in the universe? And most importantly, why am I afraid of lint? So it's safe to say that after that happened, I pretty much got over that fear. Not one of my shining moments in childhood, I gotta be honest. And on to part 3 we are. Now, unlike the other two, you know, Shrek and lint, this one is actually a reasonable fear. Not that this is anything particularly dangerous or deadly, it's just creepy. But some people would disagree. Some people have this item as home decor, which I personally wouldn't put that on my wall. But, you know, I'm not other people. I mean, you're entitled to your own opinion. However, if you do happen to have one of these things on your wall, just keep me out of it, okay? I don't want to be involved. Now, this was first grade, one of the last field trips of the year, so, you know, summer was approaching and it was really hot. And our teachers took us to the Bronx Zoo. So not only were we hot and ready to die, but the animals were hot and ready to die. None of the animals were out at all. They were all in the shade, in the water, not coming out of their caves. They were just dead, dude. Even the crickets were having a hard time getting their shit together. They were freaking sweating. They were passing around little cricket-sized water bottles. It was insane. Now, I don't know if the Bronx Zoo still does this, but they gave us these flashcards, and the flashcards had this hole cut out of them, and in the hole was a red piece of like plastic film. You were supposed to look through the film down at the little info box in front of each exhibit, and there would be a hidden passage underneath each paragraph of like a little item that's hiding in the exhibit somewhere, or just, I don't know, something weird, some fact, it was like a scavenger hunt thing. I have no idea what the whole purpose behind it was. So when we were at the Puma exhibit, and, you know, the Pumas were just all freaking dead, we decided, oh hey, let's make some kind of event out of this. So we read the little hidden passage, and it said, if you look to the left, or, you know, crane your head 90 degrees to the side and then flip diagonally, you'll be able to see what the Pumas had for lunch. We followed the directions, and right against the glass in the corner was this huge deer skull that literally none of us could have missed. This thing was massive. It had huge antlers. I mean, here's the thing, it probably wasn't that big, but keep in mind, I was like 6. It's like they waited for us to finish reading the passage, and then some man's hairy arm just shot out and put the deer skull there, and everyone was like, ooh, ah. And meanwhile, I was just sitting here like, what is that? Where did that come from? That wasn't there before. And as we were walking away from the exhibit, I just kept staring at it. Like, it's just kind of staring at me. It was staring into my soul. We went out to go get sandwiches, and I kept looking back over there, trying to, craning my head to the Puma exhibit to see if it was still there. Every single time we walked past the Puma exhibit, I would, just start looking around to see if it was there. And I was like, sure enough, it's still there. Like, it hasn't moved. Well, when I went home that day, I told my parents all about it. I was like, there was a deer skull in the Puma exhibit right behind the glass. And one minute it wasn't there, and the next minute it was. And I kept talking about it and talking about it. And that night, I went to bed. Ooh, boy, I had some nightmares. I had a dream that I was stuck in an exhibit. I was banging on the glass trying to get out, and there was nothing in there. I was just in there by myself. And when I turned around, there was just a deer skull right there sitting behind me. And I started frantically trying to get out. And every single time I would look back, it was closer and closer and closer. It was like a freaking deadly game of red light, green light. Oh my god, it's gonna touch me. But it's dead bone matter. Whew. So after I woke up, I was like, oh man, well, glad that's over. Oh no. It wasn't over. It was just getting started, my dude. The next night, I had dreams where the deer skull would grow like 2 little freaking cartoony looking legs and start chasing after me, chasing me down the hallway of the school, chasing me through the locker rooms and the bathroom. And I would have other dreams where we'd be driving down the highway, and when I look out the window, there's just deer skulls for miles and miles and miles, going all the way down and back, just piled on top of each other, all just facing me. I look out the other window and they're on the other side. We're just driving through a road, and the road is just completely surrounded by deer skulls. I guess it's safe to say that I'm really not a big fan of deer skulls. And this extended to just bovine skulls in general. Cattle skulls, horses, gazelle, just anything that had that look. You know what I mean? If it was a hoofed animal, chances are I probably didn't want to see its skull. There was one time when I was visiting family in Pennsylvania, and I really had to go to the bathroom. So, I'm just kind of sitting there, admiring the home decor. I look up, and there's a cattle skull on the wall right above me. And, everybody in the bar is just like, oh yeah, we're having a great time, listening to music. Then in the background, they just hear this screech. And sure enough, I run into the bathroom, pants down, may I add, screaming my head off. And my dad comes up to me and he's like, oh no, Ashley, please don't do this. I'm trying to interact with your mom's family. I'm actually doing a good job for once. And I'm just screaming and I'm like pointing and I'm like, there's a cattle skull in the bathroom. There's a cattle skull in the bathroom. So thankfully, my relatives had a second bathroom upstairs. So he took me up there and he's like, all right, just calm your tits. Just go in this bathroom. And as I was in that bathroom, I was just sitting there and I was just looking around, man. I'm like, no, I don't trust this bathroom. I know there's another cattle skull or a deer skull. Oh, I know they're gonna come after me. I was not trusting of any bathroom for a solid week after that happened. And that's not even an exaggeration. I was scared to go in my own bathroom for a week. I was just looking around. I was like pulling the shower curtain back to make sure there weren't any deer skulls on the walls. I was petrified of this thing. Every single time I would even see one in real life, I'd have nightmares. And unlike Shrek and Lint, where, I got over it over time, this is something thing that I really do not like to this day. I'll be honest, I don't like deer skulls. I don't like cattle skulls. They creep me out. Now, they don't affect me as badly as they used to, but if I'm made aware that there's a deer skull in a room, I stay away from that room. If I'm made aware that there's a cattle skull, or even like a picture of a cattle skull, like, I don't know, at an event, or they're selling like little home decor that looks like them, I stay away. We had them at my store one time. You know, they weren't real, but they were pretty realistic looking. Whenever somebody would slap one on the register in front of me, I'd just be like, no, you keep that away from me. I act like, oh, no, how's your day going? It's good. And meanwhile, I'm just kind of turning this thing away from me, like, I'm not gonna look at it, I'm just gonna wrap it up in the paper and put it in the bag, because I'm not looking at that. You stay away from me, Mr. Cattle Skull. This actually bled into a lot of my stories when I was a child. I would have, you know, the dog and his friends were walking through the park, and there's a deer skull on the rock, and they get all freaked out, and they push it down the hill, but then when they come back, it's there again. I mean, nowadays, you've probably seen it, I actually have a Wendigo character that has a deer skull for a face. The thing is, I really like skeletons and stuff like that, but no. I can look at a drawn one, I think that they're very cool, but a real one? Girl, not happening. Anyway, yeah, that was my tragic tale, that was my childhood, just shitting bricks 24/7. Well,